TG Geeks, episode 283, July 20th, 2020. Activism, anthologies, and writing for sport. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where it's still hotter than the surface of the sun.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from, it's not so lovely because it's a very overcast, kind of pre-monsoony Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. Well, let's get on with the show.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we have an author, Jeff Baker. He is another one of those that kind of came to us through QueerSciFi and J. Scott Coatsworth efforts. And then we have our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, and our feedback and some shout-outs in the second segment. We got something interesting to talk about if we have time.
Hopefully.
A weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So let's get right to talk to Jeff. And this time we welcome to the show Jeff Baker, who is an author and columnist. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, or tell our listeners, kind of your elevator pitch of your life, or long elevator pitch of your life so far?
Presumably the elevator's tall.
Yes, going to the top of the Empire State Building.
Born and raised here in Wichita, Kansas, that hotbed of LGBT science fiction writing. And I'm a product, basically, of too many comic books and watching shows like Bewitched and Night Gallery. And among other things, I think it was over 25 years ago, after an unsuccessful try at writing nonfiction and not getting published, I started reading a bunch of short stories by people like H.P. Lovecraft and Anthony Boucher, among others, and started writing my own stuff, and started getting published in a lot of small press markets. I figure I've had about 23, 24 things published that way.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes, that's been over 10 years. Because, I think the first thing I had published, I had a couple of flash fiction stories published about 99, and then I had a horror story read over the radio on Halloween 2001, and then I didn't have anything else published at all until about 2008. I mean, we're talking, I could paper a wall with rejection slips.
Oh, my Lord. Wow. Well,
that's the way it goes. So that's the thing about being a writer. You have to get used to the fact you're not going to sell or place everything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, interestingly enough, you said that you are you still in Wichita?
Yes.
I grew up in Muskogee, Oklahoma, about, 2-hour drive from Wichita, 2.5 hours, something like that. So when you were talking about watching Bewitched and Night Gallery, oh, my God, I loved Night Gallery. Oh, my gosh. That was probably the best thing on television.
I remember the first one, I was like about 9 years old, and it scared the living crud out of me.
I know.
Yeah, me too.
I'd never heard of some of the authors like H.P. Lovecraft. And,
exactly.
The one I loved was The Hand of Orcus Weems, where the guy finds that his hand is possessed.
Oh my! I don't recall that one.
And that was George Maharis, as a matter of fact.
Wow!
And all of a sudden, his hand is possessed. He's telling the story to this doctor that he's going to see because he wants him to head off his hand because it's trying to kill people.
Oh my! Wow! I don't.
And we find out that it's trying to kill the people who murdered this original guy back in an apartment that this guy has moved into, and so this goes taking over. That was
interesting.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I know that there were.
I have no connection with it, but I will recommend getting the DVD of the 3 Seasons of Night Gallery. Just when they show it on TV, they have hacked it up and cut it up and inserted bits and pieces.
Oh, I know.
They have nothing to do with it, but the original, it's still really, really good. Granted, there are a few segments that are really, really bad, but
right. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
One of my favorites was Cool Air, which was a Lovecraft story.
Yeah, Lovecraft, and that's why.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I loved Night Gallery in its original run, and it literally just scared the crap out of me at times. I mean, because some of those stories were they were brilliant, but terrifying.
Yes, wonderful, absolutely. I remember they showed it here where Saturday Night Live is now, and I think they were showing a movie the night that they aired Night Gallery locally, so we got it Saturday night, and after at any rate for bed, I hopped in bed and watched Night Gallery for an hour, and and then they show reruns of The Twilight Zone, so
wow.
I was spoiled and my destiny was set right there.
Exactly, wow. So tell us what, have you always been a writer or did that just happen as an adult, or?
I think, in a way, I have, although I wasn't really planning it. I wrote parodies of comic books in grade school and junior high and high school, and I don't know if I wanted to be a cartoonist or what. I mean, I was an idiot for not sending at least a script of something off to some comic book that was running parodies of them, but I didn't know anything about submitting stories or anything. And I went to college here in town to become a journalist, and as it turned out, I did not become a journalist, but I had fun anyway in school. And it wasn't until, as a matter of fact, Night Gallery, for some reason, about 1987 or 88, I got to thinking about that show, and I really had never looked up any of the authors, and so I looked up a whole bunch of them and got a few books and read them and loved Lovecraft. I did not know Lovecraft had died so young. Good heavens. Well,
he was...
I'm 59 and to me now 43 sounds real young, or 44 or whatever he was.
Yeah.
And I started writing stuff and sending them off, and I got a few acceptances, and trust me, getting an acceptance a year is gold, and it makes up for getting, thank you for sending us your story. We regret it does not be our needs at this time, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But anyway, it's real interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, that Poe died, Edgar Allan Poe died when he was, 35?
He was also very young.
And Lovecraft died young. But Lovecraft, both
he was insane.
Poe and Lovecraft led very, very tortured lives. So
yeah, Lovecraft wanted to live in the 1700s. I don't think he would have liked it. I think one trip to the bathroom would have convinced him. Hey, I want to go back.
Exactly. Indoor plumbing is for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it was Woody Allen. Somebody asked him if he wanted to travel in time, and he said, I wouldn't go back any further than the invention of penicillin.
Exactly. There you go. So, it's interesting how some writers wind up living very tortured lives, and their stories show it. I mean, Lovecraft, I love his work, but What a crazy mind and life he must have lived to come up with that stuff.
Yeah, he wrote down a lot of his dreams too. Of course, Rod Serling did also. I mean, he kept a dictaphone or a tape recorder by his bed, and if an idea scared him awake, he would write it down. I do some of the same thing. I mean, my husband goes, if I have a nightmare that wakes me up, and he says, "Are you okay?" And I say, "Yeah." And he says, "Are you going to write this down?" I say, "Give me a minute." And I may hop out and scroll it down in a notebook. And
Yeah.
that's where I got the new idea. I have one that was published in this magazine/anthology old-style press does called the Yellow Book. They've done it in volumes. And the image that happened to me when I dreamed, I walked into my bathroom and I turned on the light. I mean, we've all done that a million times. And the lights came on everywhere except in my reflection in the mirror.
Oh, dear. Wow.
And that scared the bejeebers out of me. And when I woke up, I thought, this is too good to not write down. And I did. And so that's half the fun right there.
Now, that's an
Right,
interesting
yeah.
that's a very interesting idea about taking a nightmare as a genesis for a short story. How did you develop it from that point on? I mean, what kind of thoughts did you put into taking that one idea?
I wondered about what would happen, and then I inserted it in this story where this kid sees, apparently he sees something looking through the window in an old deserted house, and then a day or so later he disappears, and he had said something strange about reflections, and this guy tries to find him, and among the odd things that happen are he looks into his rearview mirror, and the car is all dark, but it's the middle of the day, and so that's it. I've got a story that's out in a slush pile right now that's not scary, it was funny. I dreamed that I was watching this girl, I say high school age, and her younger brother, and somehow I knew it was like about 1940 or 41 or something, and they were driving in this old car, and the guy who was driving them was this knight in shining armor. And I knew that he had, and they were talking about the fact that this guy had just ripped off a cash register.
Uh-oh.
And he was a real knight in shining armor from like the 4th century or something, but he ripped off the cash register, and I woke up and I thought, what the hell is that? At first, I wrote it down, and I got a story. And it got some nice rejection, and it may get published if this market accepts it, called Arm in Knighting Shiner. That's another thing about myself. I don't just write horror. I like to throw funny stuff in. I mean, I like Robert Bloch, who's very funny, and Henry Kuttner, who's not as well known today, unfortunately, and Robert Arthur, who is just about forgotten, who laughs amid the chills. And so that it's nice when you even get a rejection and they say, "Oh, this story made us laugh." We're rejecting it though, but still.
Exactly.
It's interesting where you're getting a lot of your stories. Do some others come from other sources? I mean, it'd be kind of, I don't know what I would think to know that all of your work comes from your dreams. I mean, that would probably send you to therapy.
I wish I could dream all my stories up. That would make it easier. No, you find stories in absolutely everything. I wrote one that did get published. One day I was, I don't know why I was thinking about it, but I suddenly thought, what if there was an unemployment agency for vampires? And I wrote this story. It did get published in an anthology called, I'll put it here, These Vampires Don't Sparkle.
Oh, thank you.
And the story got published in there about this guy who is jumping, bitten on the neck and turning into a vampire. And when he comes to, he has this little card that's been stuck into his hand, and it says, "Emergency, go to blah, blah, this address." And it's this little unemployment agency where they tell him all the things he's going to have to live with now that he is a blood-sucking creature of the night.
Wow,
Nice.
interesting.
Nice. I like that story. That sounds fun.
So,
That was fun to write.
yeah, in addition to the other writing or the books and things that you've done, you're trying to publish something, what is it, every week on your website? Is that correct?
Yeah. I stumbled across a couple of picture prompt sites on Facebook. The one I'm on now is called Friday Flash Fix. That's FICS. And how it works is they publish a picture prompt on Friday, and the people who participate have a week to write up something about 500 words or less, although we are very, very lax about the length, and post it the next Friday. And I have been doing that since May of 2016. That's been 4 years,
Wow.
and I am
Whoa.
amazed.
Wow,
That's a lot of writing.
Stories during that time, so it's about one a week, and it is really great practice. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I am a better writer.
Oh,
Now, and I've
absolutely.
written a couple of series, or 3 or 4 series in there. I do one about this kid. It's set in the 1970s, and the 16-year-old, his father is out of the picture, and his mom bails on him, and he realizes that 1976 is no place to be a gay teenager in a boys'
Trust me.
home, and so he runs away, and he travels across the country, running into very, very odd things as he goes along. I hope to get Bryce Going. I think I named him after Joanna Going, who was an actress years ago. And I got about 7 stories in that, and really, it has turned out a lot better than I thought. I mean, it makes me think of Manly Wade Wellman. I wasn't thinking about him, the writer, when I was writing it, but it. Oh, really? And some of these will probably wind up in a book someday if I ever get off my behind.
Interesting.
So, and I have another series. I love those old science fiction fantasy stories that are told in a bar. I mean, Arthur C. Clarke did one in a series. Camp and Pratt did one. And so I thought, no one's ever done a series like that set in a gay bar. And so I created something called Demeter's Bar, where odd stories are told, and a few of them have been published in regular hardcover markets and some on my website. One of the first is in the aforementioned QueerSciFi. They do a flash fiction contest, and one of the stories wound up in there.
Wow.
Which was really nice.
Cool. Yeah. That's how you came to our attention, is through, well, not through Queer Sci-Fi, but from Scott Coatsworth and another Facebook group that he has. So it's a small world, isn't it?
I stumbled across him a while back. Yeah, he's kind of friend of mine.
Yeah. So, what do you have anything that you're working on right now? Any?
I'm working on a couple of things. There's no big project that's coming out right now. The only, if I can do one self-promo, I published a story about Solar Pons, who was an August Airless take on Sherlock Holmes in an anthology with the authorization of his estate, the Necronomicon of Solar Pons, which is the latest thing of mine to come out between the covers that Alexandre Books has it. I am proud of it. It looks really nice. Darryl was another of the writers who had his stories on Night Gallery. Yeah, so I went all Arctic for that, and they wanted horror stories, and I've been reading some of Lovecraft's and some of Edgar Allan Poe and Arthur Conan Doyle's stories set in the Arctic, and I whipped up one of my own, and it came off very well, I think.
Yeah, I started on a journey of reading through Lovecraft's. I got the whole list of all of his works and short stories, and
it's daunting.
It's daunting. I'm only about halfway through it, and I've been doing that for 2 years.
Yeah,
I can only read so much at a time, you know.
Yeah, reading Lovecraft can be a bit of a tough read. So when you do your writing, do you tend to really focus more in the area of horror, or is your genre writing a bit more diverse?
It's more diverse. I spread out, really. I published horror and fantasy and science fiction, and I published a few mysteries, too. I have a couple in Sherlock Holmes Mystery Magazine, which I think is still being published. And I'm writing one right now, and I haven't written any mysteries in a while, and I thought I'd better get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a couple of them, and I published in a webzine called Over My Dead Body that were set in prison, because I used to work with a bunch of guys who were on a work release. This was like when I was about 30, and they were like about 20-something, and I heard all kinds of stories about what the setup was when you're in the slammer, and so I wrote it all down and wrote a couple of them. One, a locked room murder mystery. I mean, you can't get any more locked room than a prison cell.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. You've got, obviously...
Unfortunately, I have never been in there. No, thank God.
Well, good for you on that. You've got a lot of stuff that you've done. I mean, there's obviously a lot of creation that you've done. So for anybody who wants to be able to see where your work is located, where can they find that?
Well, most of my flash fiction is published on my blog at authorjeffbaker.com. And I also link it all to a Facebook page called Jeff Baker Author.
Very good. And do you have any other social media presence that's just for you and you alone that people can, friend you and follow you on?
Twitter, Facebook.
Well, I run under a couple of different names, and under the name Mike Mayock, where I publish a couple of things. I have a Twitter feed. I think it's Mike Mayock Author, but I update that once a year. But unfortunately, no. No, I'm not really usually all over the internet or anything.
Okay. Very good.
Well,
I forgot to mention I do a column for QueerSciFi.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We can't forget that.
I have to figure out what I'm writing this month, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's great. Well, this has been really great. Thank you for being on our show.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me.
Hi, this is Chuck Tomasi from the Technorama Podcast and author of Podcasting for Dummies, and you are listening to Ben and Keith, also known as the Two Gay Geeks. I love these guys.
Well, we love you too, Chuck.
Absolutely. And miss you.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
God.
Even though you're just up the road.
Yeah, well,
wow.
It's still the great pause.
It is still the great pause. Well, here's a few selected birthdays for July 20th through July 26th, 2020. July 20th, Diana Rigg.
Emma Peel
from The Avengers, Her Majesty's Secret Service. She was also in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
And Doctor Who. She was in an episode of Doctor Who.
Oh, my gosh. I actually don't recall.
It must have been Mrs. Wilson. It was a New Who.
Was it a New? That's right. It was a New Who.
Yep.
It was in the Matt Smith era, I think.
She also speaks Hindi. Her family moved to India when she was very young, and she grew up learning to speak Hindi.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she smoked up until 2017.
Oh, my.
When she had a heart procedure. She says her heart stopped, so she was up there with the good Lord, who said, "Send the old back down again. I'm not having her yet."
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And then we have Roberto Orci, producer, writer. He was a writer for Xena.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Fringe.
Well, that's how I became aware of him in the first place.
And Limitless, Sleepy Hollow, and that horrible thing, Scorpion.
Oh, my God. Well, I guess, you can't win them all.
Yep. And also Star Trek Beyond. Let's see. Natalie Wood, actress, Miracle on 34th Street when she was just a child.
I think that was her first part.
Yep. West Side Story. Mm-hmm. She died tragically of drowning. Yeah. She had a lifelong fear of drowning.
No.
Yes.
Oh, my. That's a terrible way to go then.
Exactly. And Don Henley wrote Dirty Laundry because he was outraged by the treatment that the media were heaping
There was
on her
a
after her
lot
death.
of scandal that came out of that, and it's tragic that we had to see that. We should just remember her because she was a good person, and remember the great legacy of work that she left us.
Exactly. And then we have Matt Lancelotti, a friend of ours in Palm Springs.
Oddly enough, I was just thinking about him and his husband, Joe, not just the other day, and thinking about how the very first was Phoenix Comic-Con then.
Yes.
We had, I think that was the first year we actually had the studio set up in the hotel room.
Yep.
And we invited them up. It was past 11.
Oh my gosh.
When we got into the room and we started into this conversation about food, and oh my word, the things that came out that night were hilarious.
It was incredible.
I may need to listen to that again because that was that entire interview segment, or actually it wasn't an interview, it was a conversation. It was one of the funniest topics we'd ever had.
It was a lot of fun. And then a classmate of mine, Rebecca Stiles, and how about this?
Imagine that.
Jeff Baker, his birthday today.
Happy
We
birthday,
just
Jeff.
lucked to. July 21st, Robin Williams, actor, truly a Renaissance man. Everything from comedy to drama and everything in between.
The man was an insane talent.
He was. Tragically died of suicide, and that's exactly why we run the suicide prevention spots that we do. One from the Trevor Project and one from Trans Lifeline, because you are not alone.
Mm-mm.
Reach out for help, please. Rory Culkin, actor, brother of Macaulay Culkin, actually, and the other Culkins. He was the youngest of the kids.
Yeah.
And he was in a movie that we kind of helped promote, A Song of Sway Lake.
My God, what a great movie.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
He was fantastic in it.
Oh, yeah, he was. He really inhabited that part.
He did.
Of just the insanity of that
whole family.
That character. Yeah, it was great. And then we have Don Knotts, actor, Barney on Andy Griffith's show.
Wow, I mean...
Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yeah.
Mayor Turkey Lurkey and Chicken Little.
Mm-hmm.
He was a ventriloquist, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember him also, the incredible Mr. Limpet.
Yeah.
Which of course, as a kid, I was really turned on to because that's an anime. It's partly animated where he gets turned into a fish.
Oh, interesting. Well, he left the Andy Griffith show, and they didn't want him to leave, but he had already signed a contract for several films that he was supposed to do, and just the time just didn't work out.
And then he came back to television in Three's Company.
Yep. And then we have Facebook friend and friend of ours from Arizona Opera, Sam Lowry. July 22nd, Alex Trebek, producer, host of Jeopardy! A number of movies and TV shows as himself, mostly.
Yeah.
And currently is battling pancreatic cancer.
According to the latest news reports, he seems to be battling it quite well.
Yep, seems to be doing well. Terrence Stamp, actor, Superman, Star Wars, Smallville.
We should emphasize that when we say Star Wars, we're talking The Phantom Menace.
Yes. And Priscilla, Queen
oh
of the
my
Desert.
goodness, Priscilla.
Yep. An interesting thing about... he played General Zod in Superman, and in Smallville, he actually was the voice of Jor-El.
Yep.
So, really interesting. He and Michael Caine were once roommates before they
You have cocaine?
Yes. Yes, my cocaine.
Go on.
They were roommates before they were, either one of them were known.
I wonder if they ever worked together.
I don't know.
I can't remember of anything they did together. It would have been fun.
Yep, and speaking of Don Henley,
oh yes,
his birthday, Eagles, and solo career. Alan Menken, composer, he gave us some of the most iconic Disney themes. 8 Oscars. He is actually in the running for the most Oscars.
Probably.
So, he and Howard Ashman were a power team, even writing Little Shop of Horrors musical.
Oh,
together.
yes.
Then we have Louise Fletcher.
Oh, my goodness.
Actress. In the 50s and 60s, she was on almost every TV Western.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Several parts here and there. An episode of Twilight Zone. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, obviously.
Well, yeah, as Nurse Ratched.
Yep. And Flowers in the Attic. What a bizarre
that is a
film.
freaky movie.
Oh, my God. She was the grandmother.
I didn't realize she was the grandmother. That movie is disturbing.
It's more than disturbing.
It's a mess.
Yep. Deep Space Nine, obviously. Yeah. Oh, my God, is Kai Wynn. And Big Eden.
Oh, I love her in Big Eden.
Yep. And,
but this is the really great thing about what kind of an actress she is, because when you watch her, you can either love her or hate her depending on who she is playing. You're not looking at Louise Fletcher anymore. You are looking at the character, and that says something to the talent of her acting ability.
Yep. And she grew up with sign language. Both of her parents were deaf. And
I had heard that before.
She did part of. Did she do an acceptance speech or a presentation? I don't remember what it was. The last bit she did in sign.
I seem to remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And then we have James Whale, director of the Universal Monsters, Frankenstein most notably. So openly gay. Mm-hmm. And let's see, July 23rd, Daniel Radcliffe, actor, Harry Potter, huge supporter of the LGBTQ plus community.
He's an amazing young man.
The Trevor Project, suicide prevention. July 24th, Linda Carter.
Wonder Woman.
Actress, and she was also on Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing is her stunt double son told his class that his mother was Wonder Woman's stunt double. They didn't believe him.
Oops.
She found out about it, and she invited the whole class to be on set.
Snap!
Yep. And she's an ally to the community. Was the Grand Marshal of the Pride Parade here a number of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still takes care of herself.
She looks great. I mean, I saw her. She played an alien on Supergirl, and she looked amazing.
Yep. Also, Chris Sarandon, actor, voice of Jack Skellington.
Oh, yeah.
Deep Space Nine, he played a character.
He was one of the listeners.
Yes. Princess Bride, he was Humperdinck. Humperdinck. And the son-in-law of Monty Hall.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah. And then Alexandre Dumas, writer, prolific French novelist, Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers. He was born in what is now Haiti and brought to France as a boy and freed there. His father had a position in the army, so he was brought back to France. He entered the armed forces himself and rose to the rank of general, the first man of color to do so in France.
No kidding.
Yeah. July 25th, Estelle Getty from Golden Girls. She got her start because she knew Harvey Fierstein.
No.
He wrote a part for her in the Torch Song Trilogy stage show.
Oh.
But when it came time for the film, they needed star power for the film, and Anne Bancroft replaced her.
Okay.
She was heartbroken.
Oh.
And
but look what happened after that.
Yes. Exactly.
I mean, she got on what is one of the most beloved sitcoms in 80s, 90s with Golden Girls.
Yep. And when she'd auditioned for the part, they didn't believe that she could be B. Arthur's mother.
Well,
and then she went, put a wig on and a little prosthetic makeup, and
the weird thing is that...
And she did the part exactly the same as she did before. They believed her.
Obviously, they believed her because I had never really seen her before.
She was the youngest of the whole bunch.
She was the youngest of the entire cast. I did not realize that was her, or what she really looked like, because all I knew of Estelle Getty was playing this character. Yeah. And then I saw her in an interview, and my jaw hit the floor. I thought, oh my God, she looks fantastic. I mean, wow, what makeup.
Yep. She was a huge supporter of the LGBT community and was very active in many AIDS causes. Mm-hmm. Let's see, who's next? Maria Hughes.
My mother.
Your mother. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
July 26th, Stanley Kubrick. Director, producer, 2001, Clockwork Orange, Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, yeah.
And Spartacus.
Oh, God, no. Spartacus was his?
Yes. He came in because Kirk Douglas asked him to come in and take the project over.
Oh.
And interestingly enough, he came in and had his own way of doing things, And the cinematographer, Russell Meddy, complained that Kubrick was taking over his job. So Kubrick said, well, just go over there and sit there and do nothing.
That sounds like
He later won the Oscar for cinematography for just sitting there.
That sounds like Kubrick. I mean, the man was very controlling, but 9 times out of 10, when he made a movie, people would go to watch it because it would be a work of art.
Yep. And he was actually in the process of working on AI when he died.
Yeah.
Spielberg took over because it was revealed that he and Stanley were very close friends and had talked extensively about
doing
AI.
It. Yeah.
So he took that over. Helen Mirren, actress, episode of Twilight Zone, Gosford Park. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, she was Deep Thought.
That's right.
And Red 2. She has a tattoo of a star on her left hand that she got at a Native American reservation in Minnesota. Nana Visitor, actress. Ryan's Hope, 79 episodes. Another Ryan's Hope
Wait a
alumni.
minute. Who the heck did she play?
Oh, I can't remember. Nancy Feldman.
Okay, that must have been after I stopped watching, because I only watched like the first couple of years, and then I abandoned.
Yep.
But she's all, wow, the connection, the Star Trek connection to Ryan's Hope is hilarious now. That's 3 people that I know
exactly. Kate Mulgrew.
Andrew Robinson, and now Nana. Wow, far out.
She was also on the Colbys and Night Court and a couple of other odd TV appearances.
She was in the I don't remember her in the Colbys, and I definitely don't remember her in Night Court.
Yeah, she was in 6, 8, 10 episodes of the Colbys. Yeah.
Wow.
And an episode of Night Court.
Oh, well, there's a lot of people who were in an episode of Night Court. It was one of the more popular sitcoms in its day.
She was also, obviously, Deep Space Nine and Dark Angel, an episode of Grimm, and an episode of Torchwood. And Andrew Robinson is her son Django's godfather.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
No, that does not surprise me because she had him while they were working on Deep Space Nine anyway.
Yep. And then Roger Taylor.
Now, which Roger Taylor are we talking about?
The drummer for the drummer for Queen. Sorry.
Thank you. Because I honestly didn't. That's why I have to stop and ask every time, because there are 2 Roger Taylors who are drummers.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, which one is it? I'm not sure because you're the one doing the birthdays. So I have to ask.
Exactly. No, it's the one from Duran Duran.
Oh, okay.
No.
Is it? I don't know anymore. You're messing with my mind.
It's the drummer for Queen.
Okay.
He was the one that studied dentistry before joining
he
Queen.
hated the idea of being a dentist. I heard an interview with him, and
I want to be a dentist.
No, God. He hated the idea of being a dentist. He said the idea of working with people's teeth just revolted him. But he did it because he was probably pushed into it. But no, I'm sure he's a lot happier now being a drummer.
Yep. And then Blake Edwards, director, writer, Pink Panther films, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Speaking of, we just watched the episode of Deep Space Nine with just a hint of Moon River at Vic Fontaine's.
Yeah.
And then Days of Wine and Roses. And Victor Victoria, husband of Julie Andrews. He was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
My goodness.
Amazing.
A lot of really talented people came out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's amazing. Unlike me. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
You're tuned in to Krypton Radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi.
Go give a listen to our friends over there at KryptonRadio.com. They're a 24-hour geeky internet radio station, and Gene Turnbow has really programmed a lot of neat stuff over there, including our podcast at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific time. They have some regular shows, and in between they have all kinds of different music from different genres to filk to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So go give a listen to them and tell them we sent you over there.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
I'm waiting for the finger to... Okay, you're... Ah! I'm watching you. Okay, this is the time for our feedback, and each of the links for these items will be in the show notes for this episode. Episode number 283 at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding TG Geeks, episode number 280. We got a message from Tammy Thornton-Turney. It was a birthday greeting
Shout
that
out,
week.
yep.
Yeah, a birthday shout out in that episode, and she writes back, "Thanks, guys."
A classmate of mine.
And then moving on, regarding Hamish Downey has 5 questions with Paul LaGreca, and Hamish left his own comment saying, "What does Mother Teresa and Kit from Knight Rider have in common? Answer: today's interviewee," meaning Paul LaGreca. It's very interesting. Check that one out.
Yeah.
And then, moving on, regarding Ben's breakdown, 1776, the movie, old classics, newly reviewed. Got a comment from Aging Gay Millennial on Instagram, and writes, "I love this movie, one of the freaking best," and you'll get no argument from us, which is why we watch it every year. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 281, got a comment from Jane Carney, who also received a birthday shout-out. She says, "Thanks, Keith and Ben. I hope you are staying safe in Phoenix."
She's a coworker of mine.
And then got a comment from Hamish Downey, and this is in regards to the interview we did with Charles Freedom Long in that episode. He says he had a nice philosophy starting when he was retired, so he could write without any pressure. Yeah, can't argue with that one. And then we close it off regarding HBO Max greenlight's animated series Young Love, based on the Academy Award-winning short film Hair Love. And just a simple little comment from Hamish Downey, who writes, "What a good idea."
I love that.
Oh, Hair Love is so good.
Oh my gosh, it is just, it's so
It is
touching.
funny, and it is touching. It is beautiful. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that short. It's perfect.
It won the Academy for a reason.
For multiple reasons, very good
Exactly.
reasons.
If you want to leave a comment, you can do that, and you can do that in a number of different places. You can start with the Facebook page, or a Facebook page, or any of the Facebook posts that we have, because everything we post on tggeeks.com goes over to Facebook. It also goes to Twitter. You can comment there, and Instagram, where you can comment. You can also go directly to tggeeks.com, and you can comment on each individual article or an episode. And if you want to comment on an episode, go to YouTube and comment on an episode there. We also have a listener feedback line. We want to hear from you. It's getting musty and dusty.
Well, it's not just getting musty and dusty, but we're running out of feedback.
Yeah.
People, no one's commenting.
You can call and leave a voicemail message, and we'll play that on air so you can be famous too. Call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. As everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, just like Jeff and all of the independent writers that we have talked to recently and other artists. Whether it's comic book artists, filmmakers, writers, or others, we are supportive. You can be too, or you should be as well. Go to their Etsy page, their Facebook page, their web pages, their Instagram, their Twitter, everything, and check out what they are doing. And you comment on stuff that they're doing, chat them up, tell others about their stuff, buy their stuff if they are selling something, and please support independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a local 501c3 nonprofit profit food pantry for the HIV/AIDS community for Maricopa and Pinal County. They provide their clients with a selection of nutritional foods to take home, and they can choose what they want so nothing is wasted. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree right now during these tough times. You can go and give a monthly gift, a recurring gift, or a single gift, and go to jtfp.org, and you can do that there. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, we definitely have time to talk about something we saw last night, which would be Saturday night.
Oh, my gosh. It was incredible.
Surprisingly good.
We took a break in the middle of it and went out, 50 miles from
Yeah, we went comet hunting last night.
to look for the comet.
Yeah. See that faint thing that looks like a cloud? Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's go back home and watch the rest of this. And we're talking about The Old Guard.
Wow.
It's an original Netflix film based on a 4-issue graphic novel.
Yes, and it's very confusing to try to find the graphic novel on Amazon because there seems to be 2 versions of it for some reason.
No kidding.
I was going to buy it, and it's a little confusing as to what it is, or if it's the same thing, a reissue, or something to that effect. But
you did
anyway,
a little bit more research on that.
It was really, really. He started playing it, and as we sat down for dinner, and I said, "What is this?" And he said, "You'll see."
Yeah, you'll see. Eventually they got to tip their hand and show you what this is all about. Who are these people? What makes them so special? And they kind of show that pretty early on.
Yeah, you said it was an urban fantasy, and you seemed to indicate that they didn't really show the fantasy portion. And I said, "Well, she has a sword." No, that was not a sword.
It was one heck of an axe.
A 2-handed halberd.
Wow.
Or a hand, oh my God.
And she is, and Charlize Theron stars as Andy, the leader of this little private army. And wow, could she wield that thing? But I really think that that was probably her. I don't think she worked with a stunt double because Charlize Theron terrifies me.
Yes.
She's very, very lean, and I think she's got like 0 body fat on her. I think she's 100% muscle, and she could probably break me into 2 like a twig.
Yeah.
But it's an impressive film. It's violent.
Yes, very violent.
It's very violent, but
the premise
is fantastic.
Really interesting. And the one thing that kind of raised an eyebrow, a good eyebrow, is there's 2 characters, and they're happen to be riding in a boxcar of a train.
Oh, yes.
And the 2 guys are curled up together, sleeping.
Uh-huh.
One arm around the other, and it's
Nick and Joey.
Okay, that's interesting.
That was very interesting, and then that gets explained at greater detail in one of the most beautiful speeches.
Oh, and what he says was, let's see, you're mocking. He says, a soldier says, "What is he? Your boyfriend?" He says, "You're a child, an infant. Your mocking is thus infantile. He's not my boyfriend. This man is more to me than you can dream. He's the moon when I'm lost in the darkness, and warmth when I shiver in cold. And his kiss still thrills me, even after a millennia. His heart overflows with a kindness of which this world is not worthy of. I love this man beyond measure and reason. He's not my boyfriend. He's all and he's more. And Nikki says, you're an incurable
romantic, which I thought was beautiful.
Yes.
It was so wonderful.
My God.
I had originally approached this because I had heard that this was partly done in answer to the kill the gays trope that you and I have complained about for some time now, and now they've created something that kills the gays trope.
Exactly.
By having these two characters that are essentially immortal, to a point. And I was very intrigued with that idea, but then started reading some comments from people saying that it did not do justice to the graphic novel, that the whole LGBTQ element and the same-sex relationship element was very much watered down. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's not all that great. But then I kept seeing more and more positive. So I thought, all right, let's give this thing a try. And I was not disappointed. Now, maybe I would have been if I'd read the graphic novel first.
Yeah, who knows?
But I loved what I saw last night.
It was pretty incredible.
I mean, the action is really great.
To go check it out.
Yeah, the action is great. I think the fantasy is interesting. I'm very curious about the universe that this happens in. I mean, why are these people immortal? Yep. They sort of address it that maybe they're brought into this world by a higher power to do a string of good, because that is shown that this one person that Andy rescues has an effect 3 generations later that benefits humanity.
Yep.
So there's questions that really are being asked about what's it like to be immortal?
Yep.
Why are you immortal? I'm fascinated with it. I know that Netflix is doing another part because, as I said earlier, this is a 4-issue graphic novel. They're working on a sequel to this right now. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go.
Yep,
it ended
absolutely.
exactly or pretty close to the way I predicted that it would end.
Exactly.
I was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with myself on that.
We got it right once in a million.
Yeah, once in a million. Ah, man, no lottery. Crud, we're not going to win the lottery this time. Oh, well. But still.
Go to Netflix, check it out.
Yeah,
The Old Guard.
Check it out. And there will be a review coming later this week of The Old Guard that you will be able to read at tggeeks.com. Time for a weekly recap. And these are the things that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com this past week. And we will have the links for each of these stories in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting with Sunday, July 12th. Nerdy Chupacabras issue number 4 from Tommy Cannon. And then on Monday the 13th, TG Geeks episode number 282. On Tuesday the 14th, Pia Thrasher releases trailer for new short, Things We Dig. Oh please,
gosh.
Check the trailer out. You will not be sorry. And then on Wednesday the 15th, get nostalgic with Scare Package, Universal Monsters, Phantasm 2 apparel on sale now at frightrags.com. Given my love for the Phantasm franchise, I think I might have to buy something there. And then on Thursday the 16th, HBO Max, and TBS announced lineup for San Diego Comic-Con's virtual Comic-Con at home. If you're missing Comic-Con this year or just not being able to go to a local convention, check this out. There are a lot of organizations that are doing online conventions right now. I've been checking out a few, and I'm very excited to see what San Diego Comic-Con is going to be doing for their Comic-Con at home. So you want to check that press release out. And then on Friday, July 17th, Hamish Downey asks 5 more questions of Joel Haver. And then Saturday the 18th, This Got Made by Carlton Tetley, episode 3. If you want a good laugh, check that out.
This one's a fun one.
That's it.
And you can find all those things at tggeeks.com.
Have to give some shout outs to a few people. First to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, which is put up by the human Arkle, Brian Weber, and republishes our content from time to time. And plus, Arkle's a good friend of the show. So you can do that by searching for Arkle at Twitter, Arkle, and there you can probably find his Post-Dispatch News. Also, look for Arkle Studios on YouTube, youtube.com/Arkle Studios, all one word. Brian has a number of projects. His Nameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies series, and his game videos of Trick and Treat, as well as Star Trek Online. Check those out. Those are very entertaining. Also, we must give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages from time to time. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. When I asked their moderators, can I share? Yes, I'm not joking when I say this. They literally said, please share away. And so we do. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for the same. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thanks, Jeremiah. And lastly and leastly, but not leastly, we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to their other content, geeky internet radio, 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go there and you can listen to the episode while you surf the internet on your device. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out this article for the webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay home, stay safe, and try to stay sane. Peace.
Cheers.